The countdown is on. In just a few days, Tobago will be transformed into the carnival capital of the Caribbean as we celebrate Tobago Carnival 2025. But before we hit the streets, we head back to the house to handle Tobago's business. This time, member for Mount St. George Goodwood, Megan Morrison, will lead the charge by laying a motion for the House to adopt the report from the Standing Orders Committee. This report could change the very structure of the chamber sittings we know today. So this one is big. Thursday, October 23rd, from 10 a.m., the House will reignite for the 45th sitting of the 2021 to 2025 session of the Tobago House of Assembly. You can either come in or tune in. Either way, don't miss it.
Let us now pray. O Almighty God, as we have come together to begin our meeting of the Assembly, we humbly beseech you to grant to all our members the light and guidance of your Holy Spirit, that we may wisely take counsel together and come to such decisions as shall promote your glory and the well-being of our citizens in this our land, so that peace and happiness, truth and justice may be enjoyed by all people. Grant this for the sake of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Members, you may be seated.
Oath of allegiance of a new member. Announcements by the presiding officer.
Honorable members, I have received leave of absence from the following members for today's sitting: Assemblyman Trevor James, Councillor Petal Ann Roberts. The leaves are granted.
Assembly bills sent back from Cabinet. Assembly laws brought back from Parliament. Petitions, papers.
Leader of Assembly business.
Madam Presiding Officer, I stand to lay the Tobago House of Assembly monthly budget report as at the end of July 2025 and the Tobago House of Assembly monthly budget report as at the end of August 2025 on behalf of the Secretary of Finance, Trade and Economy.
Thank you.
Presentation of reports from Dispute Resolution Commission, Select Committees. Chief Secretary questions.
Minority Leader, Assemblyman Kelvin Morris.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Madam Presiding Officer, before we proceed, on a point of clarification, at the last sitting, there was a standing order raised where we had no decision with respect to how many questions can under Standing Order 26.5. And we just want, as the House, to get a clear ruling on how we treat with multiple questions that are held over and secretaries claiming they can only answer.
I would have sent correspondence to all members that the order paper and questions on the order paper will be dispensed with before the end, the House dissolves. So all questions will be dealt with before then.
No, I just wanted, for going forward, for a point of clarity, if questions are held over for a period and then new questions are asked, in that sitting, is the secretary allowed to answer more than 3 questions? Or?
I would give you that answer before the end of the sitting. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You could move forward with your question to the Chief Secretary.
Question number 1 to Chief Secretary.
Chief Secretary, Mr. Augustine.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. By notice of appeal filed on the 5th of June 2025, the Tobago House of Assembly appealed the order of the Industrial Court dated 13th of April 2025 by amended notice of appeal filed on 6th October 2025. The THA included grounds of appeal to the appeal order of 30th of June 2025. Both were filed in the Court of Appeal.
I know we all remember that Chief Secretary's questions doesn't have any follow-up, so we'll move quickly on to question number 2. Assemblyman Morris.
Question number 2 to the Chief Secretary.
Chief Secretary, Assemblyman Augustine.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Madam Presiding Officer, the THA filed a notice of application for a stay of execution of the order of 30th June 2025, pending the hearing and determination of the appeal. A stay of execution is a court order that suspends or postpones the enforcement of a court judgment. No decision has been made on this application. It must be noted that all of these applications are matters of public record. Nevertheless, this matter is still sub judice, and so no further comments can be made at this time.
Assemblyman Morris, question 3.
Question number 3 to the Chief Secretary.
Chief Secretary, Assemblyman Augustine.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. In a letter dated 15th of September 2025, that was sent via electronic mail to the following: Secretary Zorisha Hackett, Secretary Tashia Boris, Assistant Secretary Niall George, Administrator Shelley Trim, and the Chief Administrator. That letter stated, inter alia, and I'm quoting from the letter, that the temporary appointment of duties for Qualitative Secretary Zorisha Hackett, and I'm quoting verbatim from the letter, shall remain valid until such time as it is expressly revoked by the Chief Secretary. Close quotation. A public press release followed this email that was sent to the individuals so named.
Question 4, Minority Leader, Assemblyman Morris.
Madam Presiding Officer, because this question was 2-part, which spoke both to when it was sent and received, can the Chief Secretary, just for clarification, confirm whether acknowledgement was received and when?
That suggests as a
No, I'm saying the question, if you look at the question itself, it asks for both when it was sent and when it was received.
They were received.
Chief Secretary?
They were received the same day, and acknowledgement was given the same day.
Thank you, Chief.
Question 4, Assemblyman Morris.
Question number 4 to the Chief Secretary.
Chief Secretary, Assemblyman Augustine.
Thank you. Madam Presiding Officer, inherent in the question are bits of information that are inaccurate. So the premise of the question is wrong. Nonetheless, I will share accurate information. The TRHA currently has a fleet of 8 ambulances. New ambulances were purchased on a phased basis in which 4 ambulances are to be delivered each year beginning in 2024. 4 of these were already received, and 3 more are expected this month to augment the current fleet. Currently, at the checks done this week, we have a response time of 17 minutes for all, on average, for all emergency call-outs. Let me also state that upon instruction, the file and the matter was sent to the Office of the Procurement Regulator for the OPR to do an assessment as to whether the procurement was done properly or not.
Minority Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Question number 1 to the Chief Secretary.
Chief Secretary, Assemblyman Augustine.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Madam Presiding Officer, in this question, I feel like I'll have to go to some Social Studies 101. The way the Tobago House of Assembly and most democratic governments are formed is that there is the principle of separation of power. The executive and the Assembly Legislature are 2 separate entities. There is no legal requirement for the Chief Secretary to write anybody in the Assembly Legislature, to notify anybody in the Assembly Legislature that he has decided to shift portfolios. As a matter of fact, Madam Presiding Officer, when all secretaries here were assigned divisions by this Chief Secretary, I never wrote a single thing to the Assembly Legislature. The Assembly Legislature's job is to pay attention to the policy shifts made by the Chief Secretary publicly and to so advise and operate. There is no legal requirement for me to write anybody here. And therefore, I will not be writing anybody here. As was the case when we came in 2021. Further to which, Madam Presiding Officer, I don't want persons to confuse the fact that there are questions on the order paper that were on the order paper sent to individual secretaries prior to the shift. Therefore, the real question to be asked is, in an instance where a shift in portfolio is made, who should answer the question? The person who received the question prior or the new person? And the answer to that does not come from the executive. The answer to that must come from advisement from the Assembly Legislature. So it is the Assembly Legislature to advise who should really answer that question. But as far as I'm concerned, the question asks if the Chief Secretary confirmation that written correspondence was issued to the secretaries. I already answered that. And whether clarification was not provided to the House. There is no need for the Chief Secretary to provide clarification to the House. That's not a requirement legally of the Chief Secretary. So why am I providing clarity to the House? There was a press release that happened after I made the shift on the 15th of September. I put out a press release from my office.
Members.
A press release was issued before the sit-in. A press release was issued before the sit-in. After the sit-in, I did a press conference because there were people in this political space who needed to be schooled on what the law says. Prior to the sit-in, there was a press release from my office. That's a fact. And it is not my duty to provide any clarification to the House in writing. It is my duty to rearrange the executive as I so choose. That's not the prerogative of the Assembly Legislature. The Assembly Legislature, on the other hand, as it did in 2021, must pay attention to when the Chief Secretary makes the announcement or put it in the public in writing and act accordingly. But as I said, Madam Presiding Officer, the real question to the confusion is, who really should answer the question? Should it be the Secretary who was sent the question prior, or should it be the new Secretary with the portfolio? And that can only come from advisement from the Assembly Legislature.
Question 2, Minority Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Question number 2 to the Chief Secretary.
Chief Secretary, Assemblyman Augustine.
Thank you. In October 2023, the scope was partially completed at a cost of $1,977,000 VAT inclusive, to which the contractor was only paid in October 2024. As a result of unavailability of funds, no works were undertaken on the site for the period of November 2023 to August 2025, which is when phase 2 of the project commenced. To date, the contractor has received payment of $2,207,961 for phase 2. In total, the contractor has received $4,184,961. Work is scheduled to resume tomorrow, provided that the site is cleared.
Minority Councillor, question 3.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Question number 3 to the Chief Secretary.
Assemblyman Augustine, Chief Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. The hyperbaric chamber has been in use for over 22 years and has reached its functional capacity. Specifications have already been developed to acquire a new multi-place hyperbaric chamber with the ability to treat 6 patients concurrently. Steps are being undertaken by the procurement department of TRHA at this time.
Minority Councillor, question 4.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Question number 4 to the Chief Secretary.
Chief Secretary, Assemblyman Augustine.
Thank you very much. The TRHA purchased an incinerator valued at $4.5 million, which is expected to burn at least 3 times the amount of waste generated by its healthcare facilities throughout the island. That is 3.2 tons per day. Finalization of site location for the establishment of the incinerator is ongoing with EIDCOT down at Cove. And perhaps let me explain. After believing that the lands at Cove were duly and finally vested in the THA through EIDCOT, now we understand, well, some months ago, that Section 5 was never, ever declared on that site, which is the final part of the acquisition. So that was done by Cabinet, waiting on it to be gazetted by the President. Once that is done, EIDCOT can legally issue lands. Considerations for determining an appropriate site must include statutory clearance from all relevant state agencies, such as the AMA and the TCPD. Building designs for the required facility and construction is estimated to begin in the second quarter of 2025-2026.
Question 5, Minority Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Question number 5 to the Chief Secretary.
Chief Secretary, Assemblyman Augustine.
Thank you very much, Madam Presiding Officer. With regards to A, the Tobago Assembly is still the owner and operator of Manta Lodge Hotel. B, a monthly loss from October 2024 to August 2025 is $60,000 on average. It should be noted that since opening its doors in September 2024, significant efforts were expended to conclude tour operator arrangements with major international partners. This process, which could only commence following the operationalization of the property, typically takes 6 to 9 months to be completed for major operators such as British Airways Holiday and Condor and several others to engage. All of these operations require that Manta Lodge pay for those engagements, and that accounts in part for the loss. With regards to C, the bar license was never revoked. It just needed to be renewed. Statutory agencies took long to visit the hotel to make the necessary recommendations for the court. However, the bar license was granted. It was renewed.
Questions to secretaries? Questions for oral answers?
Leader of Assembly Business.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Before we enter into this segment, I just want to indicate to this House that the members of the majority are prepared to answer questions number 278, 284, 285, 288, and 289. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Madam Presiding Officer, excuse, could the Leader of Assembly Business just repeat the questions,
Yes.
please?
278, 284, 285, 288, and 289. 78, 84, 85, 88, and 89. Thank you.
Leader of Assembly Business, one more time so I could write it down, sir.
278, 284, 285, 288, and 289.
Minority Leader, Assemblyman Morris. Question 278.
Question 278 to the Secretary of Health, Wellness and Social Protection.
Question 278, Assemblyman Bremner.
Good morning. Yes, good morning, Madam Presiding Officer. Good morning to the House. On the 19th of October 2022, the Tobago Regional Health Authority utilized a selective tender process, inviting 7 companies within the vehicle sales industry, suppliers of ambulance-type vehicles, to bid for the supply and delivery of ambulances to the Tobago Regional Health Authority. The companies invited to submit bids were Ansa Motors, LaFast Motors Limited, Lifestyle Motors Limited, Massey Motors, Southern Sales and Services Group Limited, Toyota Trinidad and Tobago Limited, and Greenway Ford. Only Massey Motors and Ansa Motors submitted bids, which were evaluated on the 8th of December 2022 and December 14th, 2022. Both bidders failed the technical quality component of the evaluation and were not recommended for contract award. The procurement process was standard and usual, and there is no intention to review this process.
Follow-up, Assemblyman Morris.
Madam Presiding Officer, given that a second procurement process was done and there were bids lower than the one received, can the Secretary explain in that context where you had international bidders, local bidders that provided options that were lower, more cost-effective, and more efficient? How did we arrive at ambulances where to date we are not able to have fully functional ambulances as was procured?
Assemblyman Morris, I'm going to ask you to
repeat your question,
Oh, sorry.
because it's a little long-winded.
All right. So I just want to be clear, right? The evaluation process as just defined cited only two respondents. I am saying the information available to me is that there was a second procurement process of which there were bids that were more cost efficient, providing options, ambulance options, that is brands that were more reliable. And therefore, I am trying to find out on what criteria was this supplier chosen, given that you had options that were cheaper and more reliable.
Assemblyman Brebner?
Madam Presiding Officer, I am not sure that the premise, what's the plural of premise? Premises made actually accurate. But the process of tendering is, or the procurement process is the procurement process. It continued following that period where during the period January to May 2023, further market research was conducted to invite other suppliers to do the tender process. And we do have, as the Chief Secretary indicated when he responded earlier, that we do have functioning ambulances on the island. So the process happened and we do have functioning ambulances. Therefore, I am not sure that the premises of the members' statements is actually accurate.
Madam Presiding Officer, by way of example, Amalgamated Security Services submitted a bid in January. And the first question said, why did the chairman of TRHA advise the public that they received no other option?
Question, minority leader.
So I'm saying Amalgamated supplied an option of Toyota vehicles to the cost of $700,000 per ambulance. And that was given in January before the selected suppliers sent in their bid of $1.2 million. I'm saying with an option of $700,000 as opposed to $1.2 million, how can you justify a procurement process that chooses 1.2 over 700,000, and to date, the ambulances are mired with issues? So I'm asking the question, what is, I still want, as a Tobagonian, understanding the value for money, what is the premise on which 1.2 was considered more cost efficient and more reliable than 700,000, given that the 700,000, the option is properly recognized in the RHAs in Trinidad, used and tried and tested to an option that we never used before.
Minority leader.
So I'm saying, okay, let me get simple. Sorry, simple. Can the secretary justify to Tobagonians what is the criteria that gave or made 1.2 million more affordable and more reliable than 700,000?
Thank you. Assemblyman Brebner?
Madam Presiding Officer, as you and the House may be aware, the details of the procurement process are certainly not within my remit. I certainly was not a part of the evaluation to determine which companies made which. And as a matter of fact, the OPR in essence wrote back without further questions, because we did supply to the OPR the information that they requested. So, Madam Presiding Officer, the fact is we do have ambulances that are functioning. The procurement process as outlined by the law happened. I am not, and I want it on record that Dr. Faith Brebner is not a part of the procurement process anywhere, and particularly not within the Tobago Regional Health Authority. So I am at this point not in a position to answer the question, because what he is asking is, in essence, what did the evaluation committee use to determine which or the other? I certainly do not have that information, Madam Presiding Officer.
Assemblyman Morris, follow up, please.
Can the secretary confirm whether she confirmed with any person within the Tobago space that we were getting, whether by WhatsApp or whether by other communication that we were getting for ambulances. Can the secretary confirm whether she as secretary would have indicated that the ambulances that we were getting, whether it was by WhatsApp or any other communication that we were getting?
I would rule
No,
that
okay,
that
so can she
question is
confirm
out
whether
of
she
order.
had given anybody the confirmation that we were receiving Ford ambulances and not force?
And again, I would rule that question out of order because
So can I reword it?
It infers.
No, I'm simply asking whether she gave anyone any kind of confirmation whether we were receiving Ford ambulances and not force. I'm simply asking her. She can say yes or no.
And I'm ruling that question out of order.
Okay, well, it's left for the public. Okay, didn't give her an opportunity.
Question 284.
Question 284, Assemblyman Morris.
Question 284 to the Secretary of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development.
Assemblyman Pollard.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Question for all answer. With respect to the RFP for lands and housing development across the THA and its agencies in areas such as Corlan, Adventure, Riseland, Adelphi, or Shirvan, can the Secretary list the name of the successful bidders, their business address, and the value of the contracts awarded from the 6th of December 2021 to present? Madam Presiding Officer, Adventure Phase 3 was recently awarded to CSSL with business address at All Fields, Crown Trace, Hamden, Lowlands, Tobago. The value of that contract is TT $139,196,000 VAT exclusive. VAT inclusive, it's $595,500 of the contractor's money. So added to our budgetary allocation, over $156 million will be spent on housing in Tobago. That's only one project. RFP for Riseland, Shirvan, and Adelphi have been issued, but the procurement process is still underway and no award have been made. No RFP has been issued for Corlan housing development.
Follow-up, Assemblyman Morris.
Can the Secretary confirm if any contract has been awarded at Bacolet?
Assemblyman Pollard.
That's a new question, because this is not on
It's
the
all
list.
about the same.
No,
I
it
said
was
and
not.
others.
I'm just saying it's not listed here.
No,
But
I
we
said
have-
and others, all.
Member, I don't see Bacolet listed as one of the
For ex-
areas for housing here.
Madam
Can you
Presiding
keep your-
Officer,
Can you keep your question specific to the substantial question?
Madam Presiding Officer,
Stand
for the abundance of doubt, the question said, with respect to the request for proposals for land and housing developments across, meaning all of the Tobago House of Assembly and its agencies, and we gave some examples. It was not limited to the examples. Therefore, I believe the question arises.
I would also believe that if you expect him to answer based on a question that you have provided, you would list all the lands that you needed the answers for.
Madam Presiding Officer, I'll make it easy. The Division of Settlements, the lands at Bacolet had not been invested in the Division of Settlement. It was purchased under the Division of Education and it's still under the Division of Education.
Madam Presiding Officer, I note an address of all fees contracts was given, but we know the contractor is a resident of Trinidad. Can the Secretary, isn't the Secretary concerned that all the major contracts continues to go to contractors who are resident of Trinidad?
Assemblyman Pollard.
Yes, Madam Presiding Officer. Of course, I'm concerned. But I want to read something into the Hansard today. And I want you to dispel the notion that you go about making these unfounded statements in the public domain. With regards to the Riseland, an open bidding process was used. 25 companies requested bidding documents. 9 attended mandatory site visits, including about 4 Tobago companies. 4 bids were submitted from 4 Trinidad companies, none from Tobago companies. With regards to Adelphi, an open bidding process was also used. 12 companies requested bidding documents, about 5 from Tobago, 11 attended mandatory site visiting, 1 bid was received. So for housing development, no Tobago contractors have submitted any RFP to do any of these projects. I've been advising them, if you don't have the financial resources, pool your resources. Because this is 157 million. Chauvin is supposed to be 467 million. Tobago contractors do not seem to have the financing to undertake these projects. So please, stop spreading this in the public space that all the contractors are coming from Trinidad, because they are given fair chances to tender their documents, and they do not. They show up for site visit and do not tender any documents for these projects. So what I'm not to do, wait until Tobagonians gather their funds for Tobagonians who are languishing for housing, wait until they receive those financing to undertake these projects? I don't think so.
Assemblyman Morris.
Madam Presiding Officer, given the explanation from the Secretary, is the with respect to Tobago contractors participating, could it not be based on experiences where in the case of the Adventure Phase 3, where a Tobago contractor would have provided a competitive bid and was not chosen, could it be the policy of this administration that is dissuading Tobago contractors from participating, understanding that they just would not get the jobs because all the facts on the table as we have it?
Minority Leader, I'm going to stop you again. You're again inferring something I don't think is under the remit of the Secretary of the Division.
All right.
You are free to ask another question.
Can the Secretary, could the Secretary indicate whether the policy, whether previously adopted or even by way of the most recent contract, can be a contributing factor as to why Tobagonian contractors are not so motivated to participate in the current THA's process?
Assemblyman Pollard.
Okay. To the representative for Star Spring, I was given the mandate by my boss to provide housing for Tobagonians. And I have over 10,000 persons on listing for housing. And like I said, Tobagonians are given the equal opportunity. Because we are not to wait to give Tobagonians could be subcontracted. And that is what I encourage all contractors. Make sure that works are provided for Tobago contractors, whether it's subcontract, but you cannot break up any contract in parts anymore. That is against the OPR regulation. So if they don't have the wherewithal or the financing in which to deliver these projects, I'm sorry, but this train is not stopping. We have been stopped a long time, so it's time to get the ball moving.
And final follow-up, Madam Presiding Officer. The Secretary just said that you can't phase contract.
Break up, I said break.
Well, he said break up, but I am hearing consistently, as repeated with the Bloody Bay project, that there's phase 1, there's phase 2, there's phase 3. So then, is it a convenient phasing or?
Minority Leader.
Okay.
Minority Leader, you know that is misleading.
All right.
He did not say that.
All right. So he said you can't break up, but can't you phase projects as to allow different persons to be able to?
That is against the OPR regulation.
Assemblyman Pollard, I didn't call on you just yet.
So,
I'm still waiting for the question.
Yeah, so I'm simply
Assemblyman
asking
Morris.
him, notwithstanding that you can't break up, but can you not phase the projects to allow for persons or package the projects in such a way that they are phases? Simple. Can't you not package a project in such a way that they are phases?
Assemblyman Pollard.
As I said before, you could have one main contractor, and you could have that contract in phases. The OPR regulation does not provide for you providing different phases to different contractors. You have one main contractor, on a phased basis. So you could do 1 phase, 2 phase, 3 phase, 4 phase, 5. You cannot take Mr. Morris, Mr. Duke, Mr. Tate, you can't give it to 4 different contractors. That is OPR regulation. If you want it to be like that, you could write the OPR and see if they could change the regulation.
Question 285. Minority Leader, Assemblyman Morris.
Question 285 to the Secretary for Health, Wellness and Social Protection.
Assemblyman Brebner, question 285.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. A Siemens 16-slice CT scanner costing 8.7 million was officially commissioned on 17th of July 2025. This CT scanner suffered a failure in the X-ray tube. Such failures can be credited to manufacturer's defects, stress during initial use, and improper handling during early stages of operational life. Current investigations are being undertaken by the TRHA's engineers and the supplier or manufacturer to determine the precise circumstances that would have led to this failure. Part B, the CT scanner is still under warranty and the X-ray tube was already replaced by the supplier manufacturer. The scanner is fully operational at this time.
Follow-up, Minority Leader.
Secretary, Secretary, can you confirm whether this upgrade repair was conducted under warranty, meaning that the supplier is bearing the cost, or will this cost be borne by the TRHA?
Assemblyman Brebner.
I am not in a position to determine that as it says, to answer that as it says, as I have been advised, that it is still under warranty. It was fixed and it is now functioning. So I am not in a position to answer the question you are asking. I am not.
So for plain layman language, has the supplier accepted liability for the incident or the non-functionality of the CT scanner? Have they accepted liability?
Assemblyman Brebner.
As I indicated in the first part, there are current investigations that are happening to determine the actual cause, and therefore, I don't know that anyone has accepted liability as it relates to the CT scanner.
Follow-up, Minority Leader.
So what is the cost of the bill and who is footing the bill?
Assemblyman Brebner.
I am not in a position to answer that. I don't have that information.
So,
Final question, Assemblyman Morris.
so a situation where a CT scanner is done, it is fixed, and we don't know if it was fixed,
Madam
how
Presiding
much
Officer.
it was fixed. We don't know that if it was fixed, how much it is fixed, and who bearing the cost of fixing it. Even when the situation is a situation where we had a CT scanner done. So, Secretary, didn't you, as a concerned Tobagonian, want to find out what is the cost and who will be bearing this cost?
I think that question was asked and answered in a different way. She would have indicated that
No, I
it's
want to
being
know if did the Secretary personally inquire as to who, because that's the first thing I would want to know. This thing has been done, we have to fix it, how much it is to fix it, and who will have to pay to fix it. I think that is basic. If a CT scanner goes down that I own, if you have a machine in your house,
Minority Leader, I'm going to allow you to ask another follow-up question.
All right. Secretary, did you ask who is to fix this and who will bear the cost?
Madam Presiding Officer.
Assemblyman Brebner.
The CT scanner is under warranty. The company, manufacturer, supplier repaired it, which is what I said at the beginning of this. The CT scanner is working. I am really not sure what the question is. It is under warranty. the supplier did the fix.
Is you confusing yourself?
Was the CT scanner fixed?
It is working, Madam Presiding Officer.
Was it under warranty when it was fixed?
It was under warranty.
Do you have any
when it
additional
was
questions,
fixed.
Minority Leader?
But is the secretary who confused herself because we asked her if they accepted liability? Is either yes, they did, or no, she said
Liability
she
was
don't know.
accepted, it was under warranty, and it was
No,
fixed. Do
no,
you have an
but-
additional question?
That is not the response because she's clear as to that she don't know who has, because the point is, Madam Secretary, she's saying they're still doing an investigation. So the question is, was basically, did the AC issue at the hospital have anything to do with this CT scanner going down? Because we talk about the humidity issue that can cause it to go down. Was the AC a factor?
Assemblyman Brebner.
Madam Presiding Officer, the failures may be credited to manufacturer's defect, stress during initial use, and improper handling during initial operational phases. Current investigations are being undertaken by the TRHA to determine the cause of the malfunction. By no means am I a CT scanner expert, and by no means am I able to provide the kind of response that the member is requesting, because investigations are currently taking place to determine the actual cause.
Thank you.
Question 288, Minority Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Presiding. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Question number 288 to the Secretary of Health, Wellness and Social Protection, Assemblyman Faith Brebner.
Assemblyman Brebner. Sorry.
The MRI machine was installed in 2015 and has now advanced past its optimal usage. The equipment is being replaced, and it is actually listed as a DP purchase for 2025-2026. There is a sufficient coverage for all patients who currently require MRI imaging through referrals to medical partners in Trinidad. I am advised that there are no backlogs in the system presently due to this process. And of course, the new machine should be on site, having gone through the entire procurement process and so forth in this financial.
Follow-up, Minority Councillor.
Yes, Madam Presiding Officer. Could the Secretary indicate when did the MRI machine stop functioning? How long has it been out of service?
By Assemblyman Brebner.
Unfortunately, I don't have that information at the top of my fingertips at this point. I don't.
Would you be so kind to provide that information to Minority Councillor, preferably before the end of the sitting?
Sure.
Follow-up, Minority Councillor?
Yes, Madam Presiding Officer. And the timeline for the procurement of a new MRI machine, can the Secretary indicate when do we expect to have a functioning MRI?
Assemblyman Brebner.
A new machine is to be acquired in fiscal 2025-2026, which is this financial.
And Madam,
Question.
yes.
I feel like if we had three already. Question 289, Minority Councillor.
Madam Presiding Officer, I had one more follow-up.
You had one more?
Yes, yes, please.
Follow-up.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Madam Presiding Officer, in terms of the patients, because there's no MRI, patients having to access these services, is the TRHA or the THA paying a cost? And if so, can the Secretary indicate what is the cost for outsourcing MRI services since that the machine has been down?
Assemblyman Brebner.
So I don't have the exact cost for each service, but as with every other cost that is not fulfilled within the Tobago Regional Health Authority, if the Tobago Regional Health Authority is sending the individuals, then we will pay whatever the cost is.
Madam Presiding Officer, could we also get that response in writing as well? Thank you.
I'm sure she will be able to provide that to you.
Thank you.
Question 289, Minority Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Question 289 to the Secretary of Health, Wellness and Social Protection, Assemblyman Faith Brebner.
Assemblyman Brebner, question 289.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. What question is that?
Question
288?
289.
289, okay. The Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection remains fully committed to expanding support for survivors of gender-based violence and persons with mental health challenges in Tobago. Currently, as it relates to our shelter capacity, we are actually in the planning and consultation phase with private and civil society partners to expand this capacity. The meetings are focused on establishing operational standards, exploring possible subventions, integrating trauma-informed care, and strengthening referral pathways. Because of the extent of what the division already provides, and because of the extent of what the division already provides, we believe that it is better to do a partnership and to integrate with external partners providing subventions and so forth. In the past year, our gender unit hosted a major workshop with Coalition Against Domestic Violence to improve our case management and interagency coordination in collaboration with UN agencies on shelter management and so forth. Of course, these arrangements are laying the foundation for the expanded capacity. As it relates to counseling and mental health services at the division, we currently have 9, and dare I say, the best therapeutic counselors on the island are housed within the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. And we have budgeted to recruit at least 3 more. We also are hoping to recruit 2 occupational therapists in this financial year. Of course, that expansion would ensure that we have strengthened psychosocial and mental health support for individuals who treat with trauma. As it relates to having 24/7 a crisis pathway, our internal divisional hotline is available until about 6 p.m. Of course, folks know that you can call 211 if you need additional coverage 24/7, and we are working through the process of having a dedicated 24-hour crisis hotline in essence at the division. And I think that may have covered all of the questions.
Follow-up, Minority Councillor.
Yes, Madam Presiding Officer, funding. I didn't hear what was the funding, and also with the rain, I wasn't hearing the Secretary clearly in terms of the additional shelter capacity.
Assemblyman Brebner.
Can you repeat the question?
Funding, so part of the question asks about funding and staffing being approved under this item. So you did indicate about the number of staff and the provision to have additional staff, but there was no information really funding, and I did not hear clearly what is the additional shelter capacity that will be engaged for persons.
So the funding, of course, is part of the budget that we submitted for this financial. So the fact that we already have 9 councillors and we hope to hire more, the funding for that has already kind of been built into the documents we did for budgeting. The capacity, we are actually working through what is absolutely needed on the island right now. So for example, currently, if there are gender-based violence issues currently, the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection provides the psychosocial support in addition to housing support to victims or survivors of gender-based violence through our rental assistance program. So we already provided that kind of support. In terms of specific housing, though, that is what we are working through with our external partners to see the best model for doing that, because we recognize the best model may not necessarily be what is out there right now, considering we already do provide housing support for people who are survivors of gender-based violence and so forth. That's part of the normal functioning of the department right now.
Follow-up, Minority Councillor.
Yes, Madam Presiding Officer. I understand that the funding is in the budget allocation, but is the Secretary willing to indicate, or can the Secretary indicate what is the dollar value of that funding that is within the budget? And I have one final follow-up, Madam Presiding Officer.
I'll take this one and then I'll have the other one. Assemblyman Brebner.
Madam Presiding Officer, if you're asking about the specific the dollar figure, I do not have the dollar figure, particularly since we are still working through the process and the mechanism to get to that. So if you're asking about a specific dollar figure, and because the process for determining what is the best final mechanism has not been worked out, then I cannot give you a proposed dollar figure at this point anyway.
Final follow-up,
Yes,
Minority Councillor.
thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Finally, the Secretary would have indicated that there were works in progress to acquire additional members of staff. I'm inquiring about the Director of Social Protection, since there was a vacancy there. Is this one of the positions to be filled, and what's the timeline to fill that position?
Assemblyman Brebner.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Within the last 2 years or so, we did a full restructuring of the Department of Social Protection. And that included identifying several key positions, directors, senior program coordinators, and a host of other lower level positions. We are continually going through the process of filling all of the positions that are within the Department of Social Protection. So it's an ongoing thing. If you look at the division's Facebook page, continually we continue to advertise for those positions. So it's an ongoing thing for all of the positions.
Clerk.
Request for leave to move the agenda of the Assembly and matters of urgent public importance. Statements by secretaries or assistant secretaries. Personal explanations. Introduction of bills. Motions relating to the business or sitting of the Assembly and moved by a secretary or assistant secretary. Public business, motion.
Honorable members, we are all aware that in accordance with Standing Order 34, this month is private members' business, but in keeping with Standing Order 93, an agreement was made between the Leader of Assembly Business and the Minority Leader to defer private members' business to the month of November and treat with the committee's business. The report of the Standing Orders Committee of the 11th session of the Tobago House of Assembly 2021 to 2025. Assemblyman Megan Morris. Let me address you correctly. Assemblyman Megan Morrison. My apologies.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Madam Presiding Officer, I wish to request 42.7 of the standing orders be invoked.
Approval granted.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. I wish to indicate that this motion before this Honorable House is the adoption of the report of the Tobago House of Assembly's Standing Orders Committee for 2021-2025. It is with great pleasure, Madam Presiding Officer, that I move this motion to adopt the Standing Orders report of the Tobago House of Assembly 2021 to 2025. With that being said, Madam Presiding Officer, I beg to move the following motion standing in my name. Be it resolved that this Honorable House adopt the report of the Standing Orders Committee of the 11th session of the Tobago House of Assembly 2021 to 2025. And before further ado, I wish to thank the people of Mount St. George Goodwood for allowing me this opportunity to stand in this august house to bring this presentation. I am your humble servant, and I would not forget that. Madam Presiding Officer, it with great pride and joy that I participate in this momentous occasion. It has been over a decade since the standing orders of the Tobago House of Assembly were last amended and adopted. This means for more than 10 years, this Honorable House has operated under rules and regulations rooted in a past political era, an era that no longer reflects or evolving political maturity or developmental aspirations. The committee during its tenure in this term, 2021-2025, of which I am honored to be a member, comprised of Assemblyman Joel Sampson at the time, now Member of Parliament for Tobago West, Assemblyman Sonny Craig, Assemblyman Kelvin Morris, and yours truly, Assemblyman Megan Morrison, chaired by you, Madam Presiding Officer. Your leadership and depth and knowledge of the standing orders guided this committee with wisdom, clarity, and we fully appreciate your introspection and the mandate given to us. At our first meeting, the committee reflected on the mandate outlined in Act 40 of 1996, which stipulated that the rules and standing orders of the Assembly may be made by a simple majority of members and shall establish rules governing the following. A safe custody and use of seals. B, the regulation and conduct of proceedings and meetings of the Assembly, including records of proceedings. C, the maintenance of order in the chamber, the conduct of debates in the Assembly, the suspension of members, and such other matters as the Assembly considers fit. Madam Presiding Officer, the committee convened on April 3rd, 2023, fully understanding its assignment to review and adopt, undertake rules and regulations that will enhance procedures of this Honorable House as part of our collective effort to modernize this legislature. The guiding pillars of this committee's work were good governance, democracy, transparency, and accountability, principles that underpin every amendment proposed. Madam Presiding Officer, I trust that members of this Honorable House have read the document in preparation for today's deliberations. Madam Presiding Officer, please permit me to briefly but comprehensively highlight some of the key considerations proposed by the committee. 1, we looked at Standing Order 2.1, Chief Secretary's question, the time. So originally, standing orders stated On the fourth Thursday of every fourth month, there shall be a Chief Secretary's question time. However, in recognition that a quarter consists of 3 months, not 4, the committee proposed that it now reads, on the fourth Thursday of every third month, there shall be a Chief Secretary's question time at that time designated in the order of business. A new standing order 27-2 was inserted to define the nature of questions that may be asked. During the Chief Secretary's question time, questions may be put to the Chief Secretary relating to urgent matters of public importance within the Tobago House of Assembly's purview, or on general performance of the Assembly and its agencies. Standing Order 27-3. We amended a limited question time to 20 minutes, ensuring concise and focused exchange. Additionally, a fourth paragraph was inserted to establish that 21-day notice shall be given prior to the sitting. This allows the Office of the Clerk sufficient time to provide the Chief Secretary with the questions, ensuring accuracy and transparency. That was 1. 2, Standing Order 87. We are debating, there is a word stranger that now currently exists. The committee recommends replacing the term stranger with observers to create a more respectful and welcoming reference to members of the public in the public gallery. 3, role of the deputy presiding officer. Provision included for the deputy presiding officer to designate another member, not being a secretary, to preside over sittings when both presiding officer and deputy presiding officers are unavoidably absent. This provision currently does not exist. 4, appointment of a deputy leader of assembly business. A new standing order established the position of deputy leader of assembly business to assist the leader of assembly business in the absence of both the presiding officer, acting on the advice of the Chief Secretary, may appoint another member to perform the function of leader of assembly business. 5, appointment of an assistant clerk of the House of the Assembly. In the absence of the clerk of the Assembly, an assistant clerk trained in parliamentary procedures shall serve at the clerk's table. This ensures the continuity of the Assembly's business at all times. Lest we forget what happened in the 6-6 era. Number 6, Standing Order 24-3, timelines for written responses. The committee addressed delays in responses to written questions. We proposed where a question not so marked is not answered within 28 days of its approval and a reasonable excuse is communicated to the clerk, the question shall be answered by the end of the term in which it was brought. Number 7, Standing Order 41-8, clarifying procedures. A minor logistic correction replaced the word propose with put when addressing the amendments of the motion was made for procedural accuracy. Number 8, we look at Standing Order 52. replacing by Standing Order 55 of the House of Representatives. This amendment introduced clear procedures for addressing disorderly conduct and misconduct by members during the sitting, ensuring order and decorum within the chamber. Number 9, Standing Order 74 to 78, composition of seasonal committees. The committee proposed that each sessional committee be comprised of 3 to 7 members. Currently, there is 5, which, of course, includes the chairman. This is suggested because this allows for a broader representation. This will allow for if there are more than 2 political parties represented in the House at any given time, fostering inclusivity and democracy. Number 10, we propose to insert a definition section. A new definition section was added to the end of the standing order to clarify key assembly/parliamentary terms to support members in interpreting procedural languages. Madam Presiding Officer, I believe I have covered the major areas the committee wish this honorable House to address. These proposed amendments reflect our shared commitment to aligning the Tobago's House of Assembly parliamentary practices with national and international standards. I take this opportunity to express my gratitude to the Clerk of the House and the Assembly and his dedicated staff for their invaluable assistance throughout this process. This committee is confident that this proposal will further enhance the efficiency, order, modernization of our legislature, placing the Tobago House of Assembly among the most progressive parliamentary institutions globally. Madam Presiding Officer, I beg to move.
Honourable members, before we continue, I know that I said that we are in our 11th session. I just want to make the clarification that this is the 12th session of the Tobago House of Assembly. The 11th session would have been the 6-6 period. Member, we have nobody else? Propose? Oh, sorry. Honourable members, the question proposed is, be it resolved that this House adopts the report of the Standing Orders Committee of the 12th session of the Tobago House of Assembly 2021 to 2025. Excuse me?
11th?
I just did.
Okay. We didn't vote on the amendment. That's why I asked.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the green light. Member for Buku Mount Pleasant, you may now join this debate.
Okay, President, good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure for me to stand to contribute to this debate as the motion was brought by my colleague from the St. George Goodwood area. The people of Buku, Mount Pleasant, and Canaan, I want to tell you that I'm so happy that you chose me to stand in this August House on your behalf. Let me say hello to the world at large as people are looking on at this conversation online from near and far. Before I got here, I took time off to look at how parliaments function around the world. and amid all the good things that are done in parliaments around the world, there are some countries where fist fighting is a normal occurrence. Pakistan, Taiwan, Japan, Kosovo, Nigeria, Georgia, South Africa, India, Mexico. And there was one particular fellow that almost brought Trinidad into that group, but he had the courtesy to say, meet me on the pavement. So the House maintained a non-confrontational record as far as we are concerned here in the Caribbean. And I must commend the Tobago House of Assembly for being one that has always sought to maintain the highest levels of order and discipline in how we do things. I had the pleasure of being a part of this committee and to work under your stewardship, your chairmanship, Madam Presiding Officer, and I must commend you for your management strategy in ensuring that we had a good, civilized, cordial, respectful conversations every time we met. Even the minority leader who was part of the conversation, and you wouldn't believe we shared different views from time to time based on how the conversations went. I see no reason why the House should not adopt these changes as recommended by the member for Goodwood, Monsignor George Goodwood. It speaks to how civilized countries move forward. It speaks to how we could afford to, as we go through this life, subdue our emotions from time to time for the greater good. And this list of standing orders might seem simple. I've always questioned, I'm in the book, please. Yeah. I've always questioned the simplicity of the book, you know, and to see the power it wields. It's almost biblical. And these changes, as far as I could observe and being a part of the process, could only lend to strengthening the mechanisms that guarantee the best governance possible for the island of Tobago. So with this short word, I just wanted to endorse the motion, and as we move forward, maybe continue to look at ourselves. And in looking at ourselves, once we see there's a need for change that will lead or redound to the benefit of us as a country, as an island, as a civilization, we should never be wary or show any kind of fear in initiating a change that would add to a better society. Sometimes the actual work of an assemblyman or a councillor could come across a bit, heavy at the top, where we do so much legislative work. But all in all, for the benefits of this journey to meet the man on the street, it must be held to a high standard and a high calling from this room. And if we maintain the highest standards in this room as leaders of the island, it will spread throughout the community and our island will benefit. Madam Presiding Officer, I thank you.
Assemblyman Morris, you may now join this debate.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Let me join this debate in congratulating the mover of the motion, Assemblyman Megan Morrison. I mean, at one point I thought she was saying goodbye to all of us when she started to thank her electoral district. I know we are in the... But Madam Presiding Officer, I just wanted to thank you in the first instance for your chairmanship of this committee, the members of the legislature support team, the clerk and his support staff for the work they would have put in, and to all the members who really took to the wheel and ensured that we got to this point of ensuring we were able to upgrade the standing orders, which is really the guiding principles, like our Bible here in the legislature that guides our sittings. And, you know, I was once told by a senior member of the parliament in terms of the parliamentary support staff that it is in the committees where you really earn your keep as an assemblyman or a parliamentarian, and therefore the work we would have done here is testament to that, where the politics is put aside, and of course we work to ensure that the business of the people is done in the best interest of all of Tobago. So therefore, I simply wanted to congratulate each and every one of us for the work we have put in here, and we hope going forward that the upgrade of the standing orders, the evolution of the standing orders, is also a foreshadow of the evolution of the Tobago House of Assembly to come. And therefore, I want to commend us and hope that we would use the upgraded standing orders to ensure that there's transparency, accountability in the business of executing our functions as both assemblymen and the executive. So I want to thank you and thank each of the members of the committee. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
Okay. Assemblyman Megan Morrison, you may now wrap up this debate.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Again, I'm just reminding us of the motion before the House is to seek to adopt the report of the Standing Orders Committee of 2021 to 2025, the 12th sitting. These amendments demonstrate the committee's collective effort to modernize the Tobago House of Assembly's internal procedures, enhancing legislative accountability and fostering a culture of efficiency, inclusivity, and respect. Collectively, they aim to align the Assembly's operation with national and international standards. This historic update positions the Tobago House of Assembly as a model of progressive governance within the wider Caribbean Parliamentary Committee. Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer.
And before we put this question to the House, I just want to say thank you to all the members of the Standing Orders Committee. You know, sometimes we visit the CPA conferences and we think that we are so small in size that we don't have much say in the whole context of legislature and parliamentary works in Trinidad and Tobago, but I must commend you all for the work and the effort put in. I know it wasn't a daunting task, but it was hard getting everybody on the same schedule, and we made it happen. I want to especially thank my clerk and Ms. O'Neill for being so dedicated to this cause, in ensuring that, you know, we get this done. Our legal officer, Mr. John, as well, he played an instrumental part in ensuring that this came to fruition as quickly as possible. So, honorable members, the question put is, be it resolved that this House adopts the report of the Standing Orders Committee of the 12th session of the Tobago House of Assembly 2021 to 2025. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any against say no. The ayes have it. The motion has been approved. Clerk?
Motion for adjournment.
Leader of Assembly Business.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. I now beg to move that this House stands adjourned for a date to be fixed.
Honorable members, the question is that this House stands adjourned for a date to be fixed. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against say no. The ayes have it. This House now stands adjourned for a date to be fixed. Members, I want you to be safe. Enjoy the season, and we'll be back here shortly.
as a man, you have to get it done by any means necessary. And so you know that there is no option for failure. And so when that time comes that you may potentially fail, how do you deal with that? And so when you see someone hangs themselves or commit suicide, you have to go back to the root cause of what would have brought that person to that point. And that is why programs such as this is important.
They said I couldn't make it, they laughed, called me crazy, but I kept my focus, stay committed, never lazy. Now I'm breaking through, rising up above the crowd. I'm living proof, I'ma say it out loud.
What does it mean to be a man?
A Tobago man is resilient,
disciplined,
confident,
royal, self-reliant.
A Tobago man is responsible.
Men have so much expectation from society, from the world at large, from family. There is so much expected of the male man. And when you look around in society, men are tired, men are burdened, men are the breadwinners, the protectors, the superhero that doesn't wear the cape. Men are called to be the head, the leaders, but the stats shows presently that most men die before their spouse, because all men do is just work to try to provide, to try to build a family. Men don't even have the opportunity to take the time to have proper discourse. I'm talking about a real male man that has took his place in society. I ain't talking about a man that just living idly by the rum shop or just wasting his life away. I'm talking about the man that decides to take his responsibility very seriously. There is so much. Imagine just like for me, for instance, sometimes I say to myself, when can I find the balance? And I've come up with a solution. Just find your rhythm and work your rhythm, because you would never find the balance as a good man. You would never ever find the balance as a good. From the time you accomplish something, you're on to the next.
Men generally speaking, not in every case, generally speaking, the man is lazy. Look at the woman. The woman gets into a job and she is spending every minute that she has in self-improvement. Where is the man in all of this? Man is in the rum shop. Man is on the bridge. Man is peddling drugs. Yes, that's the reality that we all face. And unless we come to as men and decide that this is not the way to go, but we need now to pull ourselves together and be creative, be productive, do the right thing.
Identity of men is what's up for question. Some years ago, in my father's time and even before, a man would have been defined by going out in the garden, providing for his family, and that's about it. But now we have to be one who have to be balancing our emotions, having emotional intelligence, really balancing one's perspective, understanding that we can't be flying off the handle, and even our position in terms of stating of opinion is one that we may have to rein in, or we could be cancelled because that's the trendy thing, But I must say that it's still a learning experience for all men.
I grew up in a village where you have naturally aggressive men. I'm from Plymouth, and I mean it's known around the space. But in terms of love, you as a man, you have to know when to give, especially in terms of children, because I have a son that is 17 years of age and I love him to death. But that cannot prevent you from doing what is right and laying down the law when it's necessary. But you also have to make them comfortable enough to have the conversation with you about anything and everything. And sometimes you have to know basically when to tone down this aggression and be welcoming and be warm. You have to make them feel that you are confident that they can rely on you, that they can relate to you, and that they can call on you at all times.
Now, We're going to do a toast to International Men's Day, to men talking, because real men talk, and men coming together as a community. Hip hip.
Hooray.
Cheers.
What do women usually say about men? Men is dog. So if we're locked in right now, we're here with Assembly Legislature and we're talking about International Men's Day. We're asking some tough questions to the fellas. We start off light and we get into some heavy questions, but I want to say, fellas, we could do it. We just had to find the right community, find all right people, and then we'll get you anything, right? So stay locked in. Let's ask the community some questions. We want to know what you know about International Men's Day.
International Men's Day, well, based on my take on that, I would say is a day where they are honored and held at a high prestige for their existence.
Basically, they're celebrating the hardworking men, be it young or old, the good fathers and stuff like that, persons around the world. Well, yeah, basically that.
Is it easier to say I love you or is it easier to ask for help?
As a man, it's an issue because anytime you ask for help, you're showing them that you're vulnerable and that is something a man never wants to do.
What's a Tobago man to you?
A good Tobago man is a man who is family oriented.
A true Tobago man, it didn't have nothing about Maggie and all the artificial stuff. It was just pure seasoning and love and joy and that kind of thing.
How do you deal with grief?
Just be out the house, do something fun, go play sports. Just line with the boys, do something that
basically go back to your community.
Yeah. That will keep you away from just distract your mind for a bit.
What is the day that you actually felt like a man?
If you look sharp, well, give me more money or helping you with bills and things.
That is responsibility there, where accountability right there.
You know, I started to build little muscles and things. So, you started walking with your chest high and thing, looking like a man. So, yeah.
So, my question is, what do women usually say about men?
I can't say it on camera either, but I could tell you what I would say about men.
Go ahead.
I love men.
What is something that women always say about men? Yeah, man, cheap, eh? They're not good, they're bad. Men is dog. So we've been going through Scarborough, calling all the way from Assembly Legislature, asking about International Men's Day. And we're going to continue discussion and a debate on the 10th of November 2025 about male identity and male mental health. Hope to see you there in the chambers or live.